I also have a drink.
Mine's better than yours.
I know. I did pop open KBS. I did pop
Kinetic
open.
bowel syndrome. I'm gonna have rapid fire shits.
Awesome.
Welcome to Beer Protocol.
Did you hit record?
Yes, he did.
Hi.
You might as well start, sir.
This is Jacob. Today I am drinking Founders KBS. I don't know what KBS actually stands for. It is the highly acclaimed KBS, a flavored stout. Is good for everything a flavored stout ought to be good for. It is full of chocolate and coffee aged in oak bourbon barrels. It's also 12%, so I'm just gonna be over here just going.
Yeah, I'm James. I did open up a pumpkin beer I found in our basement fridge from last year. It did not survive. So I'm drinking
You do realize beer is
Coke.
bad for you right now, James?
Shut up. I don't care.
Okay.
James, whose beer did I drink last weekend that was 2 years old and it was still mostly okay?
Mine, because it was mostly okay to begin with.
Only mostly okay at best. James, what are we talking about today?
We're missing somebody.
Hi.
Are we?
I'm
Oh,
Matt. I'm drinking.
He's right
I'm
there,
drinking.
Jake.
Yeah. Just ignore the bald man in the bottom. I'm drinking aged Whistle Pig's rye whiskey, aged 10 years. It is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, gentlemen,
Clink. Welcome to another quarantine edition of Beer Protocol, our Marvel Crisis Protocol fan podcast where we talk about models and strategies.
And Taskmaster.
Today we're going to talk about Taskmaster.
I spent
Anthony Masters
all morning going Taskmaster. Taskmaster.
Yeah, let's talk about the character a little bit, since I feel like Taskmaster, while a lot of people were excited to see him in the Black Widow trailer, confirming he is officially coming out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a lot of people have no idea who he is. I didn't really either, so I looked some stuff up. The quick summary, Taskmaster is a mercenary for hire with the incredible ability to mimic anything he sees. Basically, if he sees someone do something, he can now do that thing.
Yep. He watches a lot of TV.
Yeah, he watches a lot of TV. Various writers have made it very silly. I think at one point he essentially achieved super speed by fast forwarding the video on TV. No joke, because he watched it happen faster, that meant he could now do it faster.
That makes perfect sense to me. I don't understand what the problem is.
The problem is that in the original where he appeared in the comics, he wasn't like actually superpowered. He just had this ability to mimic anyone. So like Hawkeye, the shield throw of, but he couldn't be like, I'm super strong because I watched somebody be super strong. It didn't work that way.
Yes. Like he could throw a punch identical to how Hulk does it, but he does not have Hulk strength.
But that makes sense. If he mimicked the speed at which he could move legs, you could run faster. If you mimic the ability to lift something, it doesn't mean you can lift it heavier.
That's not how that works.
I think they even mentioned that like doing right on the edge of superhuman stuff does put a lot of strain on him, so it's not like he could just do it endlessly, but he also can catch bullets, so who knows? Comics.
Well, he saw somebody catch a bullet once, so.
And therefore he can now catch, no, that's an actual thing in the comics, is he can catch a bullet because he saw someone do it once.
Right, so you can watch Bullseye just throw shit.
He's also used his incredible powers to perfect his golf swing, learn how to cook, and once saved an entire 747's worth of people because he could land it. He had specifically watched someone land a 747 just in case he ever had to land a 747.
Someone's just like, help me, where the pilots are dead. He pulls out his phone, YouTube, how to fly a plane.
Good thing I bought that internet package.
Actually, that's a good point. In like the modern interpretation of Taskmaster, he would absolutely be a YouTube junkie. Are you kidding? He'd be watching YouTube all the damn day.
No, he wouldn't.
It would be 10 screens of different things going on.
No, he wouldn't, because 90% of it would be wrong.
Well, no, he'd be YouTube junkie. We didn't say he'd be good at what he's doing. He would
just have to be
watch a lot of YouTube.
Taskmaster once beat up a bunch of dudes in an alley because he had watched a martial arts kung fu marathon the evening before and was able to replicate the choreographed kung fu moves.
That's awesome. But
It doesn't have to be accurate. It just has to be something he can physically mimic.
So what's he doing in the game?
Taskmaster, well, he's mostly a weird character. So Taskmaster, what I'll point out real quick, as I saw one description, he is too genuinely decent-hearted to be a full villain, but he hates himself too much to be a hero. So Taskmaster is right in there as basically the true neutral of the Marvel Universe. He has worked for both S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. He has worked for every other secret organization. It just matters who's paying him.
Just because he doesn't love himself?
So like a weird storytelling gimmick about Taskmaster is he remembers everything he's seen for combat and survival. He has basic comic book level amnesia on everything else.
Huh.
So if he watches like a rom-com.
No joke, they at one point said for everything he learned to mimic, he forgot some other detail, like it was 50 First Dates or some other nonsense.
That's an interesting take on it.
But yeah, like basically he had a wife, forgot they existed, and then left, and he's still guilty about it. It's like a weird reverse Frank Castle. Where he had a family at some point, and then he forgot about them, and now he feels just as bad as Frank Castle does about his family, except he doesn't remember he had one to begin with, so he just hates himself.
So, but how can he feel bad about his family that he doesn't remember he had in the first place?
He saw
comic
pictures.
book level amnesia.
Yeah.
So Taskmaster is a member so far of Wilson Fisk's criminal syndicate. Wilson Fisk has the money. Taskmaster will show up. So Taskmaster, on his uninjured, healthy side, has 6 health, medium move, size 2, and is threat 3. So for threat 3, we're expecting probably a 1 or 2 trick pony, likely a combat piece, given Taskmaster's reputation. But 6 health makes him pretty sturdy. He has 3 defense across the board.
Yep.
Nothing stand out, but nothing bad. So he is coming in at average with a little more health. Like an average health would be 5.
Yeah.
So he's kind of tanky then?
Not really tanky, he's just average.
He also falls into our he's not a super one-trick pony, but he's a pretty normal on the field presence.
Yep. Yeah, he's not gonna be the centerpiece of anyone's list. This is the point level where I'll be like, do I have someone to do this specific job? Which for Wilson Fisk and the Criminal Syndicate might be, do I have someone who can melee screw someone over?
Yeah, he fits really well into the Criminal Syndicate.
So
he has
his first power.
3 powers. James. He has 3 attacks. The first attack is a Straw Strike. It's one of the basic strikes. 2 range, 5 dice, no power. After your attack resolved, you get power equal to the amount of damage dealt, blah, blah, blah. But on a wild, you give him bleed.
I will point out this is a basic strike with 5 dice for damage, so it actually hits relatively hard.
Usually, what is it? Usually 4 is a basic strike?
4 is the weakest strike that we'll consider worth using.
Yeah.
Because it's also the weakest strike in the game. 6 is the strongest we've ever seen a cost 0 attack get to. So this is, again, average.
Yeah.
I think the joke is this attack is literally lifted from Baron Zemo.
It is. It's almost the exact same thing. Actually, it is the exact same Baron Zemo attack.
And can I guess shield throws from Captain America?
Yes,
it sure is.
Let's talk about that one.
Do we have to? Haven't you already done Captain America? We don't even have to look at this card.
The funny thing is that yeah, his first 2 attacks are literally attacks from somebody else's card. That is the joke.
I would not have expected anything else for Taskmaster dudes.
It is exactly the Captain America attack. Jake, do you want to go over it real quick since we've actually done Captain America?
Range 4.
Done.
Range 4, 4 dice on the attack, cost 0. So it actually is nice that he has both a range 2 and a range 4 0 cost attack. This attack ignores line of sight, and the defending character does not benefit from cover. That's actually really good. That helps make up for this only being 4 dice on the range attack, because he could just, without any setup, throw his shield over a building and conk someone on the other side of it, just like Cap can.
He saw a boomerang.
No, Taskmaster actually learned how to bounce his shield off of a lamppost after seeing Cap do it, and he once even did it off of a low-flying drone.
Oh, nice. You would think that shield would just go right through the drone, but okay.
It's comics.
Physics.
If he gets a wild, he gets ricochet. After this attack is resolved, he will make another shield throw attack, targeting another character within 3 of the first target. So I'm not a big fan of base 4 damage attacks that are kind of just that. But if you put enough special rules on a 4 damage attack, I'm all for it real quickly. I think shield throw, both on Taskmaster and Cap, is a really good example of what would still be a worthwhile 4 dice attack. Because you get to ignore LOS of the main target. So this is basically a Rocket Raccoon killer.
Yep.
And then you can, if you're lucky, you get a ricochet to throw 4 dice at something else nearby. So this is really effective against Bodyguard.
Yep.
Because I think if they redirect the attack, then your ricochets from the person it was redirected to. So you could bounce the ricochet right back into the person you were originally trying to hit.
Yep.
Yeah,
they bodyguard it. They take the hit. It kind of bounces off them and then bounces back onto them.
Right. So let's look at Rocket and Groot. Groot has this very, very cheap redirect. So you'd have a situation where you throw the shield at Rocket, Groot redirects to himself, and then you ricochet, if you get ricochet, back to Rocket, and now Groot's just like, do I still have energy to redirect that? Probably, it's cheap. But someone like Red Skull almost definitely doesn't.
Yeah,
for example.
He would never have that many.
So, all in all, it's a really solid poke to keep your opponent on guard.
Yep.
Especially if they think they're safe behind a wall or around a corner. And finally, Mnemonic Technique. For at range 2, 4 dice attack, costs 2 power to use. This is actually a really cheap advanced attack. Add dice to the attack roll equal to the target's physical defense. The target cannot modify or re-roll dice for their defense roll during this attack. So it starts at base 4, but most things you're going to be throwing this at have at least 3. So this is stealthily a dice 7 attack for 2 that they can't modify or change their defenses for. That's great.
That sounds really good.
Is there anything in the game that gives you more defensive dice right now?
Not really. Not a lot that I'm aware of. In fact, with the Incinerate status condition that came out with Defenders, Ghost Rider, I think there's a Tactics card that Doctor Strange can throw it around with, or he might have a basic attack. It takes away defensive dice. So what's really funny is if you're on a team where you could set that up to your advantage, the Mnemonic Technique checks their actual, I think it checks their printed defense, not their current defense. So they would be down 1 die, but you would still get the full benefit of their defense stat to add to your attack roll. I think
would
this
actually
also
want to. So we would have to look it up. It sounds like the purpose of that is that it's the base stat, and then Incinerate removes dice from your pool. And if that's
like
true,
the stat is still the same.
then yes. If you're looking at the number of dice they're pulling, then yes, that would be lesser.
So all in all, that's a great attack, and it's pretty cheap. So just from an offensive profile, right away, we've got a solid energy gaining attack. We have a solid ranged attack, nothing particularly flashy, and we have a really solid melee attack. So yeah, his first superpower, and the only one that costs anything, Photographic Reflexes. I'd like to pause and reflect real quick. That doesn't make any sense. Because Photographic Reflexes assumes you've seen it happen already. So how are you dodging if you already saw it happen? Time travel.
Well, read the whole thing. It makes sense if you read the third sentence.
If you read.
Are you guys read shaming me right now? Is that what's happening?
No.
Maybe.
After an attack targeting this character is resolved, this character may use this superpower for 2 power. If the attacker is within 3, roll 4 dice. Deal 1 damage to the attacker for every exclamation point in each wild rolled. If the attacker has already targeted this character with an attack this turn, roll 6 dice instead of 4.
That is so insane.
It doesn't make you take any less damage, but it is a solid counter. I actually like this counter. It's essentially, the first part of it is basically the same thing as like Black Widow or Baron Zemo's counterattack. But the extra rider, where if you have someone who does focused fire attacks, then you get to hit them real hard. Looking at you, Killmonger. That's it. I remembered.
Or if they've got like somehow they got 3 attacks, or they've got multiple attacks, or so it says after the attack targeting this character is resolved, that could be like range. So
Yep.
like if you have say like Taskmaster killed somebody and where a soldier went, oh, you killed my friend, shoots you, attack him.
Another question for the forum / for them to explain is when stuff like bodyguard gets involved. Since photographic reflexes says if the attacker is already targeted, not damaged or attacked. So if somehow Taskmaster was targeted and it was redirected to someone else, does that count as a target for photographic reflexes?
Assume so, because he had to be targeted to bodyguard it, right?
No, bodyguard says that the target had basically the target moves. So
Gotcha.
he wasn't technically targeted by an attack at that point.
Okay, well, let's look at the rest of his superpowers and see if we get some more information to flesh this out. Intuitive pattern recognition. If an enemy character targets this character with an attack and has already targeted this character with an attack this turn, add 2 dice to your defense roll.
Oh my god.
That takes all of his defenses to 5s on the second attack on a turn.
But just think about that with the photographic reflexes. So now you have going like, okay, I swing at you. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and use 2. So after it's resolved, which means you get your power from dealing damage, you get like 2 hits. I take my 2 power. I'll use photographic reflexes, and they go, okay, I attack you a second time. All right, so the second time you attack me, roll less. I roll 2 more dice, and then I'll use this power again.
Then he's got martial artist. Well, this character is defending against a physical or energy attack targeting him from within 2. He adds blanks in his defense rolls to his total successes.
God, he is just a tank.
I would he's deceptively a tank. Hang on, let me come back to that in a second. And then finally, rogue agent. One character with rogue agent counts as an affiliated character during squad building, which means that you can make Taskmaster join any affiliation.
Yes, he counts as an affiliation, not towards the cards and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
His wounded side, the only difference is he drops by 1 health.
So overall, first impression of Taskmaster for me is
really quick. I wonder why they did that.
Make him drop 1 health.
Yeah.
To balance out his tankiness.
Probably. I don't really know. I don't have a good answer for you. But my initial impression of Taskmaster is he is.
That he looks like He-Man cosplaying a Skeletor.
Yeah, why not?
Man of Arms cosplaying a Skeletor.
I don't know where to put him. Criminal Syndicate wants him, I feel like, but
Criminal Syndicate definitely wants him.
So here's the thing: he has really solid melee output, but he does not have a charge. So he's going to have to spend actions to get to melee. Once he's there, he's very, very tanky if he's attacked more than once. And this is where I think dice math can get the better of you, because he only has 6 health and 3 defenses. So I don't think any of his abilities will trigger, like his counter, if he's taken out or dazed from the attack.
Wait. If he's taken out, no. If he's dazed, the attack happens. The attack happens. If you are wounded, you flip the card because you can't take any of the after actions, which means that's part of the resolution, I believe.
Yeah.
So
in short, if I remember the way Black Widow's and Zemo's counters worked, if you daze them, they don't get to take it because they can't take actions or spend resources
as a dazed
once
character.
They're dazed.
Yeah.
So if you deplete his health pool on either side, he doesn't get his very cool, very good counter. And I think his extra defense on the second attack is going to help him live long enough to make that happen. Again, like if your opponent is smart and only attacks him once per given activation, or if they're trying to play it that way, like if they know that you just charged in with Taskmaster, okay, Taskmaster's in melee now. He's not going to activate again this round. I'll just have my guys chuck in 1 attack each on their activations.
Yeah.
Just to wear him down and without triggering any of his additional stuff.
No, that's exactly how you beat him. You do 1 attack each time.
I think what's going to be relevant and why Taskmaster is going to work really well in Criminal Syndicate is Criminal Syndicate's objective game with Wilson Fisk's leadership ability. Because Taskmaster counts as 2 healthy characters, like it's all about giving. I think it's going to be about giving your opponent incentive to attack Taskmaster more than once.
Yeah.
Or even to attack him at all. Because while Taskmaster can hit relatively hard, none of his passive abilities improve his damage output. So
he literally just sounds like a distraction card effects. Deal with me, or I'm going to cause you problems.
Exactly.
Right.
I see him being. I'm holding a Wakanda herb or something, a hammer, one of the objective pieces, and I'm going to be sitting on top of another objective, and I'm going to be scoring points all the time. And unless you come after me, you're just giving away points.
And I feel like that's going to be where he excels. Like, if you want someone at 3 points to kind of put the hurt on enemies, I would look at Valkyrie. I would look at Drax. I would look at other people a while before him because they have throws. They have additional other effects like charges to help them close the gap and deal damage earlier and more consistently. Taskmaster is going to be, I think, a lot better at, like you said, at the objective gameplay. Because he is a hard-hitting melee character. He has a ranged attack, so it's harder to get away from him if he's chasing an objective runner. Like a 2-point character who's just holding on to an objective, shield throw is actually very good at going after those characters.
Yeah. It also punishes you for if you're doing
attacking him twice.
What? I'm sorry.
I said it punishes you for attacking him twice, so it's going to get harder for him to get off the objectives now.
Yeah, and you also with the shield throw, you have a chance of punishing them back if they do the plinking, where if you now have to plink him, but you have to make sure that you're 3 away from somebody else because he could just shield throw, hit that guy, and hit the other person that's plinking him with the 4 dice attack.
Martial artist we've seen on several characters now for the extra for adding blanks within 2. There's a number of characters who are melee focused who have a range 3 melee attack, and there's a few who don't. So it's going to be partially knowing your matchup for knowing how much to rely on martial artist or to really even count it in the math.
I think also with martial artists, I think having somebody, I don't want to say, I know Jake, you're going to say it, but having Red Skull in a criminal syndicate as just a guy with Hail Hydra would be good to run with him because he just goes, Hail Hydra, and passes it off to Taskmaster. Now he's the target. And you're making you're making your opponents have a lot of bad choices. Yeah, you're spending a lot of energy, but if you're passing the attack off to Taskmaster, Taskmaster's going to punish you for attacking somebody else.
Yep. He is a defense-oriented melee objective grabber holder. Like, I feel like he is someone who just holds onto the objective. Now, outside of Criminal Syndicate, that effectiveness is going to drop simply because you don't have the double healthy, and he counts. I mean, he's still going to be good at objective-focused gameplay. He just won't be as good at it as he is in Criminal Syndicate. Like, I could see him in like maybe a Web Warriors, where they get additional defenses if they're holding objectives. Now he's super tanky.
I was also thinking maybe Guardians. Having a all-around tanky character in Guardians might help.
That's true. Guardians does not have a lot of beef other than just Drax taking hits and injuring people for it.
Having him and Drax in the same group would be just bad decisions all around.
So yeah, I kind of like the Rogue Agent rule that makes him and
Winter Soldier.
Thank you. The ones who have that rule. So that gives some additional flexibility and weirdness. I haven't seen anyone take Winter Soldier specifically for his Rogue Agent, but I have not been playing at the shop for some time, so who knows? I could be wrong.
Now, the pack that comes with Punisher and him have 3 cards. The Blood Red and Personal we've seen before, Best Punisher only. The Heavy Ordnance, which I don't think I would ever take. But the one I think that goes well with him is Extreme Conditioning. It's unaffiliated, it's reactive, When a character begins a move action during its activation, it may spend 2 energy to play this card. If the active character advances, it may use the long movement tool during its movement. Now, I think that's good with him, to get him to a second objective and just sit on top of it. If you have to have him like after turn 2, I'm always doing gamma wave because it's a pretty solid mission that you see almost all the time. But gamma
It's a
wave,
mission for people who want to kill things and not play scenario.
yeah, gamma wave would be good because you're starting off more than likely taking your own side and holding it there. But then having him move a long and then a medium to sit on the second objective, especially in Criminal Syndicate, would do so much work.
Yep.
Just, and I know I would say drop off too, but drop off's been kind of nerfed, been banned.
Yeah, drop off has not been nerfed. Drop off is straight up banned.
Banned it.
There are no more drop off strategies. There's no more considering whether a character is good with drop off. Drop off is gone. It should never have been here.
God, drop off would have been amazing with him. Just like come up, drop him off, and just be like, cool, now you're sitting on top of your objective. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, go home and play your illegal street games.
This is tournament play. So yeah, I mean, God, he is. I with 5 extra, like him dropping 1 health, I don't think is going to be a deal breaker. I think that he is definitely going to be in Criminal Syndicate, and I'm guessing that he is going to be in a lot of other people's lists as like a Winter Soldier replacement.
I don't know about that simply because I don't think they do the same job.
If you're taking a rogue agent, I would rather take him than Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier is like, you killed my you dazed or killed my friend. I get to shoot you. I think that's a great little power, but I think he does a lot more work than Winter Soldier would on the overall.
Yep. I think it's really worth noting Taskmaster just doesn't interact with anything outside of range 3. So yeah. He's going to get picked off and kind of beat down by heavy ranged characters. Granted, he'll still get his extra defense dice if like Hawkeye attacks him twice. But he also doesn't get his counter, he doesn't get martial artist.
Yeah.
So holding the point is really viable. I think he's going to be most effective in trying to play the objective game against other melee characters, which I think on the average there are more melee than ranged in this game.
God, can you imagine him and Zemo just walking down the board with each other, hand in hand, just doing horrible, horrible things to everyone on an objective?
No. I'd much rather have Taskmaster on a further point and then Shuri on the point behind him, giving him rerolls from range 4 away.
Oh, that is evil. But that means I would have to take Shuri.
You'll cave and take her eventually. I know you will.
Bring Red Skull on every single list.
Like, honestly, Shuri for Criminal Syndicate. Do it.
I have been looking at it, and I'm thinking that's actually gonna be my list.
Because if you're gonna play objectives, you may as well take the absolute king of objective pushing.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing that's bad about Taskmaster. He's got no throws. He has no pushes. He has no throw, like no pulls. He is just a straight out tank. I would rather actually take him over Crossbones.
Why are you considering Crossbones?
I mean, he's part Criminal Syndicate, so
is he really?
Yeah. If I wanted to take
Crossbones is extremely hard to push off of a point, and you could use that tactics card we talked about, Extreme Condition, to give Crossbones a long move.
Yeah, that would actually be good.
So that gets him to the point, and then he will never leave that point.
Well, until he dies, yeah.
Yeah, but even then takes a little while because he can reduce damage he takes by 1.
Yeah. So Taskmaster is just really straightforward.
I'm kind of gelling with Crossbones that we've talked about out loud. I could see that happening.
Where he just
look at him.
where he just moves. He moves.
Look at his smug little mug. He's ready to go.
Unpainted. He's not ready to go. Yeah, I know. Sad face. So, God, I really want to see now, like, Crossbones and look at that painting table. That's a lot of stuff there.
I'm just gonna.
Great for the podcast, but
Oh, I like the kitty.
Yeah, don't mind him. He's a mascot character.
So, wow, and now you're back in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Sort of,
Yeah,
except for the corners and the edges.
We opened up a temporary rift. Don't mind us.
Oh, go Doctor Strange.
Readjusting.
How did I ruin this?
You need to rotate the camera.
It's almost like I just randomly grabbed the camera without considering what I was doing.
Yeah, stop it. All right, so that's Taskmaster.
I'm a normal person in a normal house.
One
That
of those things is right.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Beer Protocol. We will come back to you guys soon with more as we kind of catch up after doing a bit of a month hiatus from looking at new models. I'm super excited to look at X-Men. The X-Men are now more or less spoiled. There's still a couple pieces we haven't seen. Like, maybe I just missed Storm's preview.
I don't think I've seen Storm's. By the way, hasn't Chantress come out?
I don't think she's been spoiled yet.
Okay. I think it's Chantress. I think she's been spoiled, but I don't think her model's actually out yet.
I don't know if Angela has been spoiled either. I don't think that entire box has been spoiled because Enchantress and Angela are in the same box.
Oh, then yes, it has not been. It has not been. I bet it's been spoiled, but I bet you it hasn't come out yet.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm kind of digging Taskmaster.
Oh wait, never mind. I just saw a picture of Angela and Enchantress's cards. I found them.
Yay!
Huzzah!
All right,
Huzzah!
That's it. Game off.
Game off, everyone. Bye.